Midpoint of a line segment. In this video, we will learn how to find the point exactly midway between two other points. The concept does not come up often, but the formula is quite simple. So you should easily remember if you need to. Let's start. A midpoint of a segment is the point on that line segment that divides the segment into two congruent segments. Look at the diagram. If the segment is horizontal or vertical, you can find the midpoint by dividing the length of the segment by 2 and counting that value from either of the endpoints. Look at this horizontal line segment. The length is 6 units. 6 divided by 2 is 3 units. If we count 3 units from point A, we get the midpoint. Look at this vertical line segment. We will do the same. The length is 7 units. This length divided by 2 is 3.5 units. Counting 3.5 units from point C, we get the midpoint. If the segment lies diagonally across the coordinate axis, more thought will be needed to find the midpoint. Pay attention. The point A has coordinates 2 and 1. Point B has coordinates 8 and 7. When we are finding the coordinates of the midpoint of a segment, we are actually finding the average mean of the x coordinates and the average mean of the y coordinates. The average of x coordinates is 5. The average of y coordinates is 4. The midpoint has coordinates 5 and 4. The midpoint formula works exactly the same way. If you need to find the point that is exactly halfway between two given points, just average the x values and the y values. The x-coordinate of midpoint is the average of the x-coordinates of A and B. The y-coordinate of midpoint is the average of the y-coordinates A and B. In short, to find the midpoint of a line segment, you just calculate the averages of the coordinates. The midpoint formula finds an ordered pair that represents the midpoint of a line segment. The midpoint formula works for all line segments, vertical, horizontal, or diagonal. Let's see how it works. Find the coordinates of the midpoint of A and B. If you want to know the midpoint of the segment with endpoints A and B, plug the numbers into the midpoint formula, and we get the midpoint. Just make sure that we are adding an x to an x and a y to a y. The next example you should try to solve by yourself and then check the full resolution. If you enjoyed the content of this video, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask or suggest anything. I will be grateful.